There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart, when your plans crumble, your strength fails, and the path ahead looks darker than ever. You pray, you wait, and still, nothing seems to move. But I want to remind you today, when nothing is working in your hands, everything is working in God's hands. You see, every delay is not denial, it's divine preparation. God never moves in panic. He is not late, He is strategic. When it looks like you've lost control, that's often when He's taking over. Sometimes He will allow the storm not to destroy you, but to reveal His power in you. The greatest tests always precede the greatest testimonies. And the miracle isn't always in what changes around you, sometimes the miracle is in what God changes within you. When God says, "Be still," it doesn't mean do nothing, it means stop striving in your own strength, and start trusting in His. It means rest in the assurance that what He started, He will finish. When life feels out of control, it is easy to panic, to question, and to try to force solutions with our own limited understanding. We see things crumbling around us, relationships falling apart, opportunities slipping away, and our plans derailing in ways we never imagined. Yet, it is in these moments, the very moments when everything seems chaotic, that the power of God's presence becomes most evident. Life may appear to be spinning uncontrollably, but God is never out of control. Even when the storms rage, the circumstances overwhelm, and the future seems uncertain, there is a divine order that human eyes cannot always perceive. God's ways are higher than our ways, and His timing is perfect, even when ours seems urgent and desperate. This truth is not just comforting, it is life-transforming because it invites us to release our need to manipulate every outcome and to surrender to the wisdom of a higher power. In our impatience, we often try to solve problems with temporary solutions, shortcuts, or human strategies, only to discover that the outcomes do not align with the greater purpose God has intended. When we acknowledge that He is never out of control, we begin to see that our struggles, delays, and failures are not signs of abandonment but invitations to trust. They are opportunities to step back, quiet our hearts, and allow His divine orchestration to unfold in ways far beyond our imagination. God's control does not always manifest in the obvious or immediate. Sometimes, it is subtle, a gentle nudge here, a quiet provision there, a new door opening just when the old one seems closed forever. But even when it is not visible, even when the path is unclear, His control remains absolute. By understanding that God is never out of control, we are empowered to face uncertainty with courage rather than fear. Our perspective shifts from panic to patience, from anxiety to anticipation. We start to recognize that what appears to be chaos is actually a carefully designed pattern leading us to the fulfillment of His promises. This mindset transforms how we respond to crises, setbacks, and disappointments. Instead of reacting impulsively, we pause, pray, and seek guidance, trusting that His hand is guiding every detail. Life may test our patience, stretch our faith, and challenge our understanding, but these tests are not signs of defeat. They are opportunities to witness the precision, wisdom, and authority of a God who is always in control. As we embrace this truth, we begin to live differently, not depending solely on our own efforts, but relying on His guidance, trusting in His timing, and finding peace in His sovereignty. In the midst of confusion, we can stand firm, knowing that the one who holds the universe in His hands is also holding our lives. Every delay in life is not a denial, it is divine preparation. We often look at obstacles, setbacks, or periods of waiting and assume that God has forgotten us or that our prayers are unanswered. We become impatient, questioning why things are not moving according to our timetable. But the truth is that God's timing is never flawed, and every delay has a purpose beyond our immediate understanding. These periods of waiting are not wasted moments, they are opportunities for growth, refinement, and alignment with the plans God has for our lives. When we encounter delays, it is easy to feel discouraged or to take matters into our own hands, relying on our strength, wisdom, or understanding. Yet, it is precisely in these moments that God invites us to trust Him, to allow Him to prepare the way, and to shape us for what lies ahead. Divine preparation often comes through challenges that teach patience, resilience, and perseverance. It comes through experiences that stretch our faith, deepen our character, and strengthen our resolve. Every delay is a lesson in trust, a reminder that God is not limited by time or circumstance. While we may see a closed door or an unanswered prayer, God sees the bigger picture, the end from the beginning. He knows what we need, when we need it, and how it will come together for our ultimate good. The delay is His way of positioning us perfectly so that when the moment arrives, we are ready to receive the blessing fully, without hesitation, doubt, or fear. It is during these waiting periods that God works behind the scenes, orchestrating details, aligning people, and creating opportunities that we could never have imagined on our own. He uses delays to develop our character, to teach us dependence, and to prepare us for responsibility. Often, the things we desire most are not given to us immediately because we are not yet equipped to handle them. God's delay is a form of divine wisdom. It ensures that when the breakthrough comes, we are ready to embrace it with gratitude, humility, and excellence. Instead of seeing delays as failures, we are called to see them as part of a larger, perfect plan. Each moment of waiting is a step toward the fulfillment of God's promise, a preparation for the season He has designed specifically for us. The challenge is to remain patient, to stay faithful, and to trust that God is actively at work even when the results are not yet visible. When we understand that every delay is a divine preparation, our perspective changes. We begin to view obstacles as opportunities, waiting as growth, and setbacks as setups for something greater. We learn that the journey itself, with all its pauses and interruptions, is shaping us into vessels capable of receiving the fullness of what God has prepared. Through every delay, we are being molded, refined, and positioned for success according to His perfect plan, even if we cannot yet see the final outcome. Being still does not mean doing nothing, it means trusting completely in God's timing and wisdom. In a world that constantly demands action, decisions, and immediate results, stillness can feel unnatural, uncomfortable, or even counterproductive. Yet, it is in stillness that we align ourselves with the divine, allowing God to work in ways that far exceed human effort. Too often, we are tempted to rush, to force outcomes, or to take matters into our own hands because waiting feels like weakness. But true strength is revealed when we stop striving and instead surrender to the authority and wisdom of God. Stillness is an act of faith. It is a declaration that we believe God is in control, that His plan is perfect, and that He is actively orchestrating every detail of our lives, even when we cannot see the path clearly. When we practice stillness, we quiet our hearts, calm our minds, and become attuned to the voice of God. This is where guidance, insight, and clarity emerge. It is in these moments that God's purpose is revealed, not through human effort or understanding, but through His divine intervention. Many of life's greatest breakthroughs occur not when we are frantically working, but when we pause, reflect, and trust that the unseen hand of God is at work behind the scenes. Stillness allows us to stop fighting against the process and to start participating in God's plan. It is in stillness that fear diminishes, anxiety subsides, and peace rises, reminding us that we do not have to control everything to see results. When we embrace stillness, we demonstrate humility, patience, and obedience, qualities that prepare us for the responsibilities and blessings that lie ahead. The world often measures success by speed and visible effort, but God measures it by faith, trust, and alignment with His will. When we resist the urge to rush, we position ourselves to receive divine solutions, opportunities, and provision that could never have come through human striving alone. Being still also strengthens our character, teaching us patience, endurance, and reliance on God. We learn that our value and effectiveness are not based solely on constant action, but on being in right relationship with the one who holds the future. In these quiet moments of surrender, God reveals strategies, provides comfort, and orchestrates circumstances in ways that exceed our imagination. Stillness is not stagnation, it is preparation. It is a space where God cultivates wisdom, imparts insight, and aligns every detail for the fulfillment of His purpose. The challenge for many is to resist the urge to act prematurely, to trust the timing, and to understand that God's ways are not always visible but are always perfect. By embracing stillness, we become participants in a divine rhythm, where faith replaces fear, patience replaces panic, and trust replaces uncertainty. Stillness allows God to work in us, through us, and for us in ways that our own hands could never achieve, and it positions us to step into the fullness of His plan when the appointed time comes. The storms we face in life are not meant to destroy us but to reveal God's power and strengthen our faith. Every challenge, every difficulty, every moment of uncertainty carries with it an opportunity to witness the greatness of God and the resilience He is cultivating within us. When the waves rise and the winds howl, it is natural to feel overwhelmed, but these moments are not signs of abandonment. They are divine invitations to trust, to lean not on our own understanding, and to recognize that God is in control even when everything around us seems chaotic. Life's storms test our endurance, patience, and belief, but they also have a transformative purpose. They teach us that our strength is not found in what we can do, but in who is with us. When we allow ourselves to see the storm through the eyes of faith, we begin to understand that the greater the challenge, the greater the testimony that awaits. God often reveals His power in situations that seem impossible to us, demonstrating that no problem is too big and no obstacle is too strong for Him to overcome. These trials are opportunities to witness divine intervention, to experience breakthroughs, and to gain insight into the depth of God's love and provision. While the world may measure success by comfort and ease, God measures it by faith and perseverance under pressure. The challenges we face are not punishments, they are setups for something far greater than we can imagine. Every difficulty carries the potential to shape us, refine us, and prepare us for the purpose that God has assigned. When we respond to storms with trust rather than fear, we position ourselves to see miracles manifest in our lives. Just as the most beautiful diamonds are created under immense pressure, the most powerful testimonies are born from trials that push us to the limits of our faith. It is in these moments that God's strength becomes our anchor, His wisdom becomes our guide, and His presence becomes our comfort. The enemy desires to convince us that the storm will last forever, that we are alone, and that victory is impossible. Yet, the reality is that the storm is temporary, and God's plan is eternal. Our task is not to control the winds or calm the waves by our own effort, but to trust in the one who controls the universe. Faith rises when circumstances challenge us, and trust grows when we experience God's faithfulness firsthand. Through every storm, we learn to rely on Him, to pray without ceasing, and to hold fast to the promises that He has spoken over our lives. Each challenge is a divine classroom, a place where patience, endurance, and belief are cultivated. When we embrace the truth that storms are designed to reveal God's power rather than diminish our hope, our perspective shifts. We begin to see difficulties not as threats, but as divine opportunities for growth, strength, and revelation. God has the power to turn pain into purpose, and what was meant to break you can become the platform for your breakthrough. Life often places us in situations that feel unfair, overwhelming, or impossible, and in those moments, it is easy to wonder why suffering exists. Yet, God's ways are higher than ours, and He can take even the darkest experiences and transform them into opportunities for growth, influence, and testimony. Every trial, every disappointment, and every heartbreak carries the potential to prepare us for a greater purpose than we could have imagined. Pain is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of transformation. When we face hardships, we are presented with a choice, to allow them to define us or to allow God to refine us. By surrendering our struggles to Him, we open the door for His power to work in ways that human understanding cannot comprehend. Often, the lessons learned in the midst of difficulty are the very lessons that equip us for the next season of life. The challenges we endure develop patience, resilience, and character, molding us into vessels capable of handling greater responsibility and greater blessing. When God takes what was meant to hurt us and repurposes it, He demonstrates that no setback is wasted and no trial is meaningless. The pain we experience is never without purpose, it is shaping us, strengthening us, and preparing us for a destiny that aligns with His perfect plan. Many people struggle to see beyond their present difficulties, but faith allows us to understand that God can work all things together for good for those who love Him. Our suffering is not a signal of abandonment, it is a divine invitation to trust Him, to rely on His wisdom, and to recognize that His power is greater than our circumstances. Every obstacle, every disappointment, and every closed door can become a stepping stone toward the fulfillment of God's promises. The process of turning pain into purpose requires patience, obedience, and a willingness to let go of control. We must stop striving in our own strength and allow God to take the lead. It is in surrender that miracles begin to unfold, doors that seemed permanently closed swing open, and opportunities that were once invisible become clear. When we see hardship through the lens of faith, we begin to understand that the very things that were meant to break us are actually building us. They are strengthening our faith, sharpening our focus, and deepening our understanding of God's love and provision. What was once a source of despair becomes a source of testimony. The experiences that felt like setbacks transform into platforms for influence, encouragement, and inspiration. God is always at work, orchestrating circumstances, aligning events, and preparing us for the fulfillment of our destiny. Pain is temporary, but the purpose it serves when surrendered to God is eternal. While you are waiting, God is working, even when nothing seems to be happening, even when the answers are delayed, and even when the future feels uncertain, God is actively orchestrating every detail of your life. Many people struggle during seasons of waiting because they cannot see the progress that is happening behind the scenes. They become anxious, frustrated, and sometimes tempted to take matters into their own hands. Yet, It is precisely in these moments of waiting that God demonstrates His power, His timing, and His perfect wisdom. Waiting is not passive, it is an active engagement in trust and faith. It is a posture of surrender, where you acknowledge that God is in control and that His plans cannot be thwarted by time, circumstance, or opposition. Every delay, every pause, and every moment of uncertainty is a strategic part of God's design. While you may not understand why things are not moving as quickly as you hoped, God is aligning people, resources, and opportunities that will bring about the fulfillment of His promises in ways that exceed your imagination. Waiting is a season of preparation. God uses it to strengthen your faith, refine your character, and deepen your reliance on Him. He teaches patience, endurance, and perseverance, ensuring that when the breakthrough comes, you are ready to receive it with gratitude, wisdom, and humility. During this time, God is also working to protect you from decisions that could lead to harm, from opportunities that are premature, and from outcomes that are not yet aligned with His plan for your life. While you wait, He is arranging circumstances, opening doors, and closing doors according to His perfect will. This unseen work is evidence of His sovereignty and His commitment to bringing about the best for you. Faith is developed in waiting. Trust grows when we recognize that God's delays are not denials, and that His timing is always perfect. When you hold on in faith, remain obedient, and continue to seek God's guidance, you position yourself to receive the full measure of His blessings. The waiting period is also a time to grow in gratitude, to strengthen your prayer life, and to cultivate a deeper relationship with God. As you remain still and faithful, you begin to see that the things you thought were setbacks were actually setups for greater opportunities, greater victories, and greater fulfillment of purpose. God's work is never random, and His timing is never wrong. The challenge is to trust the process, to remain patient, and to believe that what He is doing behind the scenes is far greater than anything you could do on your own. Every delay, every pause, and every moment of stillness is a testament to His care, His wisdom, and His divine orchestration. By remaining faithful in the waiting, you position yourself to witness the miraculous, to experience breakthroughs, and to see God's power demonstrated in ways that will strengthen your faith and encourage others.